this is Honors Algebra 2 Pre-Calculus. We're doing 9.7 in Pre-Calc, which is probability. All right, so in example 4, we're going to write out the sample space of rolling 2 six-sided die in a table because tabular format is a lot easier in this situation than writing it as a list. And then part B, what is the probability of getting a sum of 7, and what is the probability of getting a sum greater than or equal to 11? So let's go ahead and write our sample space first. I'm going to slide this over a little bit to here to do this, okay? So the way I would suggest you do this is that you make going across the table one roll and down your other roll. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and make my sample space 1. Oh, that's not going to be enough space. Hold on. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Right? So I'm gonna call this whole thing my first roll. And then going down, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6, right? Because they're 2 six-sided die. All right, cool. So if I make this table for my sample space, that is my dog that you hear shaking in the background. Bailey, could you lie down, please? All right, so for instance, my first roll is a 1. My second roll is also a 1, so 1, 1. My first roll is a 2, 1, 3, 1, 4, 1, 5, 1, 6, 1, right? That whole row is what happens if I roll a 1 second, right? And then 1, 2, 2, 2, 3, 2, 4, 2, 5, 2, 6, 2. And actually, there's a nice lazy way to do this if you want. You could just put all the first entries going down 2, 2, 2, 2, 3, 3, 3, 3, 4, 4, 4, 4, 5, 5, 5, 5, 6, 6, 6, 6, and then you could go across, right? 3, 3, 3, 3, 3. Good boy, Bailey. 3, 4, 4, 4, 4, 4, 4, 5, 5, 5, 5, 5, 5, and lastly 6, 6, 6, 6, 6, and a 6. So what you can spot here is in this crazy giant table, for instance, this spot right here would be if I rolled a 2 first and then rolled a 4. Okay, so what you'll notice is that there are 36 possible outcomes in the sample space. Now, we could have figured that out without drawing the sample space, right? So the number of elements in the sample space is 36. We could count that on our table, or we could recognize that we could have gotten that by saying, oh, there are 6 options for my first roll times 6 options for my second roll. Oh, look, that's a 36, right? So now we just need to figure out how many favorable outcomes there are for each of these probabilities that you were asked to find. So I'm going to inch this over a little bit. So the probability of a sum that is 7. Well, 6 and 1 would give me a 7. So would 5 and 2 and 4 and 3 and 3 and 4 and 2 and 5 and 6 and 1. So it seems to me that there are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 possible outcomes that give me a 7. And you can check that by looking at the other options. But it turns out that if I were looking at B, right, the number of outcomes that give me a sum of 7 is 6. So the probability that I get a sum of 7 would be the 6 over the total 36, which is 1/6, right? Now, if we were looking for the probability of a sum greater than or equal to 11, well, I can just rule out all these low numbers right away. The only way I'm getting an 11 or higher is with these big rolls, right? A 5 and a 6, and a 6 and a 5, or 6 and 6. So the probability that the sum is greater than or equal to 11 is going to be these 3 outcomes over the total 36, which means 1/12. Now, you could have figured this out sort of by guess and check without the table, but these kind of questions are a lot easier if we have this table.